Hey guys, I'm Crayon. I'm here to talk about laning. I think a lot of people don't understand how lanes actually work in terms of matchups. A lot of people don't understand that some lanes you're supposed to win, some lanes you're supposed to lose, and then some lanes you're supposed to go even in. And some people don't really get this, and they come into my chat and ask me, "Hey Crayon, I lost lane," and then they show me something that's like an almost unwinnable lane, and I think that they do a good job at mitigating that. So we can talk about matchups and like what characters are good in lane, why are they good, what characters are bad in lane, why are they bad, and we also can get goes through some examples. Now, how do you win a lane? Lane's one of the most important things, and it's what got me to a transitionally before I learned any other basics in the game. It's, however, not really black and white. Some lanes have different win conditions based on the dual lane you're playing against and the dual lane you have, and this kind of informs your win con. It's always nice to kill the tower first and also come out with gold ahead. But sometimes just consider like what is your win con other than just like kill the tower. Let's start with the lane difficulty first. All right, now there's three categories for lane difficulty that I would classify. There's a stomp lane, which is basically you just destroy them, kill their tower really fast, get a bunch of gold, be upping them like maybe 1k, 2k in souls. A stalemate lane is basically the lane's kind of even. You guys don't have a strong lane, or they don't have a strong lane, but you can't really push the lead, and they can't push the lead. Maybe because the characters you have are particularly weak at killing people, something like that. Or maybe they're buying items to negate your lead, such as Rescue Beam, Health Nova, a lot of regeneration items, something like that. Even Reactive Barrier if you're a character that uses a lot of stuns. There's also the stall lane, which is basically you come into the lane knowing you're at a disadvantage, and your goal is to survive the lane and try not to give them too much of an advantage. Some lanes, even stall lanes, you have to give up the tower, for example, and so it's kind of depends on the situation. But that's generally the three classifications I would say for lanes. When you go into a game and you don't know your category, you should think in your head, how hard is my lane? What should we do in this lane? What's the advantage? You know. So here's a lane chart of I would say the best characters in lane, the worst characters in lane, and just the average characters in lane. And we'll get to why they're average for a second. Now, specifically talking about what terms of difficulty, when we say lane win con, let's say that I'm playing Wraith Ivy, right? Those characters are two of the weakest like people early game when it comes to killing anything, right? So my win con for that lane would be coming out of the lane somewhat even gold with them and not dying at least like 3 times. And then maybe we can keep our tower for a long time. Usually I would say keeping your tower to like 10 minutes is generally fine. 10 minutes is like the ideal situation, but generally if you're in a really bad lane, your tower is gone at like 6 minutes. Something you have to consider what their win con is. Let's say they have a lane that's like really strong, like Magician Holiday or something like that, right? Their win con is obviously to stop your lane and try and get advantage from that. So if you could try and negate that a little bit somehow, that would be good. There's some timings in certain lanes, such as with the Wraith Ivy example, right? Wraith has a really good ult spike. So maybe at the ult spike timing, you can look and be like, okay, at ults, me and Ivy are going to go all in with our double ult and try and kill one of them and to swing the lane into our favor, which can happen. And what can you build to negate their advantage? Using the last example with Magician Holiday, I know that Magician Holiday has some really good CCs, right? So I could buy Reactive. Or I know they have a lot of good burst damage, so I could buy Spirit Shielding or Enchantress Barrier so that people can't just one-shot me with a Lasso combo. Alright, what makes a good laner versus a bad laner, though? There are 5 different categories I like to think about when it comes to lanes. I think there's strong pokers, there's sustain, there's gun. Their gun might be strong. They have a good all-in, or they have a good CC that combo into other abilities. So, for examples I use, Poke could be Yamato with her right click, Geist, her bomb. For sustain, we got Kelvin, heal grenade, Abrams with his 1 and 3 are really nice, and Mo, who has Scorn, which heals you. Guns, Holiday has one of the best guns in the game at the start of the game, and Crackshot. Warden has a really strong gun as well. Geist has a very strong gun. Magician also has a really strong gun, and that helps you a lot in lane. Having a good gun at level 1 is really strong. For all-ins, we got Wraith, who her ult combo and cards are really strong at one-shotting someone once she hits the ult spike. Pocket, similar thing. Once he has ult, it's the same thing. He can basically one-shot someone with amp, ult, full combo, pocket. And then Warden, his ult and cage combo is pretty good in lane when you need to like fight at the ult. And then Kelvin is really good in long fights because his beam is really strong. He has dome. He has a lot of healing. And the last category we're talking about is combo lanes, which is Vindicta, who has a stake and lets you basically combo other abilities. Vindicta is noted for being a really good combo character because you combo her with Abrams charge after a stake. a Warden Cage maybe, even like Kelvin Beam into a stake might be good, something like that. Another underrated person here is McGinnis. McGinnis wall is really strong, so you can do like a McGinnis wall, isolate someone into like a shiv dash or something like that. Could be really strong. We have Bebop here who has a hook, uppercut. I mean, it's just obvious, like, you know, easy combo thing, easy to fall upon type of thing. Going to specifically two different characters that are pretty wide spectrums of laning. We got Mirage and Wraith. Mirage has really strong poke. His 3 is really strong, and he's a scarab. He has good sustain because Mystic Regen procs off his 3, so he has a lot of healing in lane. And his 1 is also really nice for staying healthy in lane. He's pretty low commitment. The character doesn't really have to do much in lane. He can just shoot you without really being punished because he has Tornado to get out. And also, he has this really decent gun damage against people. However, he does have low being and tower damage, which is one of his downsides only. For Wraith, he has a really strong ult. Her ult is one of the best ults in the game in terms of like isolating someone and making sure they can't play the game. She has good escape. Her TP is really strong. Let's say you fuck up in lane and you need to get out, you can do TP. She has good all-in. Similarly, her ult enables her all-in. She has max cards. She throws a bunch of cards at you after ult. She can actually do damage in lane. And then her biggest con is that she has really low damage. A lot of her damage is based into her cards, and her cards don't really charge that fast. Her cards are just based on if you shoot them, but, I mean, shooting them doesn't really do anything, and she kind of gets out-traded by a lot of characters in the game. So that's what makes her bad. So, as you can kind of see, like, Mirage is really good at just killing people and also keeping the lane even. While Wraith is not particularly that great at keeping the lane even or killing anyone, and her poke sucks. So there's a lot of reasons why her lane is kind of bad compared to, like, Mirage or, like, any other top laner. But she also is a really good character. It's just her lane is bad. Is what we are talking about. Alright, so here's our lane. We're playing Shiv and Vindicta as Mirage and Mo. This lane is pretty easy, I would say, for Mirage. Mirage can kind of just play back and just shoot them a bunch and kind of like poke them down and slowly kill them. However, there is something scary about this lane, which is the stake. A lot of this lane is based around a stake and the Shiv walking up into a dash. So if they ever get a stake into a dash, you can just kill either me or Mo. So we kind of have to like timing our abilities and keep our Tornado and Burrow up so that we can't just die to that combo. As you can see here, I'm kind of just playing really slow, just letting them play. Just shooting the wave whenever I can. Keeping the wave push is really important in this lane, so I like to shoot the minions here whenever I get the chance. Because if we get the minion pushed up, it lets us sit at the bridge and play like good angles as Mirage and Mo. While they don't really get the opportunity to go for a stake combo because they'll be at their tower. So here, I buy Mystic Regen, which enables my sustain in lane as Mirage, and now I'm probably one of the best laners and comes until now. I also have a really strong gun, and also anytime a shield like this, for example, lets you get marks like this, you can try and look for an all-in. Like right here, he makes a mistake, dashes in, so I start looking at him, and he just gets a 4x on him, and now he's probably gonna die in one more mark. Don't get the 8x, but it's fine. I didn't realize my aim at the time, so it makes a small mistake there. But she unfortunately passed the wrong way, ends up dying for it. And that's basically, you know, exhibit of like how Mirage kind of operates. Like you just put constant pressure on someone and eventually they'll either mess up or they have to back and they have to buy a bunch of healing items and it's kind of really bad. But Mirage doesn't have to play like that, you know. It's basically about if they make the mistake a lot of time when it comes to Mirage. Mirage is kind of like pretty low commitment to anything. So that's like one of the ways you can play. The rest of the lane. It's a fairly boring lane. After the first blood, they kind of just AFK'd the lane and tried to like negate any fights. Here you can see that they have double ults, so I'm pretty concerned about the double ult. Shiv and Vindicta are pretty strong at executing someone. So like right here, you see Mo goes for the ult on Shiv, and I get staked here, and I end up getting out because of my Tornado. But as you can see, like the Burrow and the Tornado make it really hard to kill us, so we can just hold those abilities up for the fight, so that if they go for it all in like that, a stake into like a shiv dash execute combo, you can just live it. Alright, fast forward to 10 minutes. Our lane is still held, and not much has really happened. So the good news is that our other lane on the left side won, so their Warden decided to come roam over after they get the buff, and then they finally end the lane with this gank that happens around now. And look, Shiv keeps trying to go in on me, but I'm Mirage. I try and keep my space, so I use the Tornado there. Because I'm kind of scared of the stake. If I use if you get a stake there with Shiv in your face, you just die. So now laning phase is basically over. Towers are gone. Warden comes from the back, kills the Shiv here, and basically that's all laning phase. Some lanes you can't kill a tower, so it's kind of hard. But in this lane, we basically won just look at the pure gold. We're up 1k this lane because Benedicta has 10k, but Shiv has 8k, and we're pretty up on gold here, so it's not that bad. The other lane's lost pretty bad, but it's not the end of the world, and it kind of is whatever. But this is an example of like we get a lot of kills, but the other team kind of negates the lead a little bit with the Benedicta getting a decent amount from her ult. But it didn't really matter. It's kind of like an even lane kind of thing. Alright, here's our next lane. We got Rafe Abrams versus Magician Shiv. This is actually a pretty hard lane. Abrams and Rafe don't really have that good poke, like we said earlier about the poke. So we're playing as a Magician who has one of the best pokes and the best guns at the start of the game. So it's going to be kind of rough. They also have Shiv, who kind of is a counter to Abrams specifically because it's easy to hit knives and dash on Shiv. Or on Abrams as Shiv, so it's pretty hard. As you can see from the start of the lane, my mindset is I want to shoot the minions and keep the wave away from the tower. Because if the wave hits our tower, we're kind of stuck in hell. We can just eat poke for the whole lane. There's a trench angle on our right that makes it really hard to stay at our shop. It's just going to be really bad. So we have to make sure we kill the wave as fast as possible to make sure this lane isn't just over at 10 minutes. Although I do look to fight early. I think on even weak laners like Rafe, you can sometimes fight if the other team is like fairly poor mechanically. And we also do have some all-in potential with Abrams charge, as you can see there. Abrams can go for a charge for some damage like that. But again, they're almost always going to be on the advantage, Shiv and Magician, unless we get them low somehow. So we keep the wave pushed, which is a good thing. As long as we keep Magician as tower, it's going to be a fairly normal lane for us. But as you can see here, Shiv goes in, we go to the bye. Not really much going on. Alright, let's go to the next part of the lane. Alright, a little further down the lane. We saved 1.6 and got Health Nova. This patch was when Health Nova was meta, but say if there was the current patch when there's no Health Nova, I'd probably buy Battle Vest or something like that. Battle Vest would be pretty good in this dual lane. Would reduce a lot of the damage I'd be taking. Really big charge from my Abrams. Abrams ends up dying though, because it's parry. I kind of stay on Health Nova here, but again, as you can see, the all-in is just so rough. He gets a really good charge, but unfortunately he couldn't get the punch after, and then he ends up dying for it. However, we can get a trade to make it at least a 1-for-1. Oh, I think we need to cut the footage, guys. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. Alright, so our tower is kind of low in this situation. Is that like a quarter gone? I opted to buy Battle Vest, like I said earlier. So we got another green item stay alive in the lane. A lot of this lane still is just like shooting the wave as much as we can to try and get up to the tower so that we don't die. Me and Abrams do have ults though, so we look to make a play here. So right here, we know that Shiv was going for boxes, so we go to fight him on the side. But with our ult combo, bad things might happen. My ult goes off, his ult goes off, doesn't hit the Shiv somehow, and then Shiv gets Health Nova'd, and then now bad things happen and we die. So, pretty rough. It's pretty rough going. And this kind of just snowballs. Here's our lane. So again, keep the same principle. I bought monster rounds. We're killing the wave. Just kill the wave. Reduce the amount of damage that the tower can take. We're down a lot of gold in this lane actually, if you notice. We're down 2k, but we're trying to keep our tower healthy. If you look, our tower hasn't even taken that much damage. We only took that damage from the earlier in the lane when we died. But as you can see, we're doing a pretty good job of keeping the wave pushed up so that our tower doesn't fall over. And this is one thing you guys need to consider. Like, if the lane is bad and you guys can't fight, at a certain point, you just shoot the wave and just like put the fries in the bag, you know? Just keep the wave back so that they don't shoot your tower for free. We're doing a pretty good job. This lane is fairly hard, but at least we kept our tower up till 8 minutes. It's not bad. Ideally, we would want to keep it till 10, but sometimes you can't, depending on who you're playing against. So fast forward here, see what's going on. There's a little bit of farming. Not really much to do in this lane, to be honest. Just keep shooting the wave, guys. Just keep shooting the wave. Able to charge the shift and get them scared away. And I'm one shot. It's pretty rough. I'm really one. But we both have Health Nova, so we're kind of just stalling. You can also kind of see in this lane we bought Cultist, but again, that's not really normal. This is the old patch, so you probably wouldn't be doing this. Now again, the wave finally hits the tower, and they finally are trying to get damage on the tower. So, the tower ends up getting half health here from that one wave. Just that one wave is enough to get your tower this low at this point in the game. So again, it's really important. We look for another ult. We look for the wave to get killed here. So as you can see, my Abrams charged in and just like took a pretty bad fight if you really think about it in terms of like, you're never gonna win that fight. But it was good at stalling that one wave. So now the tower, it gets stalled another minute or so, and they finally get the tower. But let's look at the state right now. So they finally got the tower, but it was at around 940. And when you're playing Magician, you kind of need to win lane. Magician's one of those characters where like their character value is based on their lane. If you have a pretty poor lane like this, it's not that great. So Magician gained the lane at 9 minutes and 40 seconds. It's pretty late. And our goal is not that bad. If you look, me and Abrams count the lane 7k each, and they only came up about 8k, so they're only up 1,000 or so. So again, this is a pretty good result. Brave won the weakest lanes of the game. Abrams, he's not the best. He's like okay in lane right now. So again, this is what we want. This is exactly what we want in lane, right? Like my win con in this lane was to keep it even, keep our gold up a little bit, have the tower stay up for a long amount, and yeah. You guys can probably apply this in your games too. Just think about who you have in your lane. What are you playing against? Are you playing against Thanos? If you are, alright, bet. Let's just shoot the wave and chill. Try and stall the wave, stall the lane as much as possible. Alright, anyway. That'll be it for the video. And yeah, I hope this is good enough for you guys to understand laning. And I hope you guys kind of get a good idea of like what is next up for your journey in Deadlock.